Hey there everyone, this is Chris from cutfileschool.com. Thanks for checking out this tutorial today. What am I doing? Well, I'm going to put together this layout right here using a variety of elements. So I'm going to use some font elements from Cricut Design Space. I'm going to use this trailer as an SVG file, that shameless plug you can get from our Etsy shop, Hometown Collective. I'll link down below. And using a third-party editing program, it's online, it's free, to create a knockout effect and work with script fonts, because full disclosure, I love Cricut Design Space for cutting. I don't love it for designing. I like to do everything over in Adobe Illustrator, but because I know many of you do not have access to it, you're wanting to be able to create some designs with these free resources. So that's why I'm putting this together here. Without further ado, let's just jump into this design process and get rolling. Let me go ahead and grab a font here and just type out happy. I'm going to move it into its place, and I've been using a font that I really like. It's called Bobby Jones. This is Bobby Jones Soft Regular, but I've been using it a lot for our camp designs. It's a good rustic campy feel to me, so that's what I'll be using today. And I'll go ahead and select these both and come over to my alignment tool and align horizontally so I can have them perfectly centered together before I curve my fonts. I'm going to select the font again, select my curve tool right here at the top of the screen, and just start sliding this over until it has the right curve appeal to me. And I don't like overdoing it so that it wraps perfectly around. It just looks overdone to me. So I like to scale it back just a little with the curve, and I think that looks okay. And what I'll do is I'll just nudge it up a little bit with my arrow keys, and I'm liking that, maybe a little more, and I might turn the curve down a little bit more. Okay. All right, so I'm liking this quite a bit. And I'll do the same thing. Use the Bobby font for camper here. Okay. And this is going to read Happy Little Camper. And I don't really want to match the font scale here on the happy. I actually kind of want to make camper a little bigger down here at the bottom. I'm going to line it up right there and center it all again horizontally. Okay, that's looking good. And just pull it up so it's in front of you on screen. Cricut Design Space, in my humble opinion, is not that easy to use for script fonts. When you pull in a script font, it's going to separate it out and not keep it linked together. I just want to give you a very quick example of what I'm talking about, because the font that I'm wanting to use here, and I'll just write little in place. The font that I want to use is called Michelin. So let me just select it here. I want to change to Michelin. Okay, bring that up. And this should be a script font with everything together, but the way that Design Space pulls it in is it separates it out, I think, so that you can easily separate it into multiple pieces. It really is a bit of a hassle to try to change this up. Let me show you. You have your option to change letter spacing, as I'm sure many of you are aware. I can scale this down, but notice what's happening. It's not uniform. It's leaving the T's and the I and this L not connected, but then the L and the I are connected. And if I keep going further, then all of a sudden, when I'm finally getting connected with the T's over here, I now have gone too far. So the only real option for adjusting script fonts is to undo them by clicking your advanced options up here and then ungroup to letters, so that these are all going to be individual, and then you can start trying to place them yourself. But really quickly here, let me just show you what's going to happen when I try to put all of these together. I don't want to take up too much of your time because that's not the point of this video. I'm actually going to show you another way to use script fonts in Design Space. So now that I have this here, let me just show you my pet peeve. So that is connected to the L with just a smidge showing up in the E, but look what's going to happen when I try to weld all these together for cutting purposes. It's going to do something wonky. It's just I don't know. I don't have the patience for it. So instead of going back and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and trying to get it the way I want, my preference is to use an online editor, a free tool. The online resource I'm going to talk about today, there's plenty others out there, but iPicky is one of the first ones that I've found. So I'm just going to open up iPicky. It's ipiccy.com. But we're going to come up here and click right here on the blue editor text, and there's going to be a drop-down menu, and we'll select the designer option. And I'm actually going to click the text tool right here. So I'm going to click it, and it's going to drop the text in for me, and I'm going to do all my editing pretty much over here. So I'm going to change the text in this field here to little, and I'm going to scale it up to say 190. Okay, so 190. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to change it to the Michelin font that I wanted. So I'm going to click local so that it's on my computer, the fonts that I have on my computer, and I'm going to come down to Michelin, which is right by the Microsoft fonts. Okay, so there that is, and I'm going to actually want to create a cutout or a knockout of this text. So I'm going to create the same exact text. I'm going to type little again. Unfortunately, it doesn't save your previous settings, so I'm going to need to redo all of that again. Local, come down to the M's, and I passed it up. Where are you? There you are, Michelin. And I'm going to click the X here to get rid of the selecting of the font. Then I'm going to come down to the scale. I think I did 190 if that's right, like 180 or 190. Yeah, I believe 190, and I can figure that out just by clicking on the other one to make sure. Yeah, 190, 190. Okay, so with one of them selected, doesn't matter which one, just one of them, click stroke, and in fact the standard setting size of the stroke is the perfect size that I want to use. It's just not the right color. I need it to match this color here. So I'm just going to leave the settings as is, but change the color. Okay, and I got there by simply clicking on this little settings symbol, and it brings it up, and then click on the color option. Okay, so now that I have my knockout text and the actual text I'm going to use, I simply just need to click the export option. So I'm going to click export, and it's going to tell me we're going to flatten this. You can't edit it, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. Export to editor, and now we're done. We're just going to save this. So let's click save, and I'm going to save it to my computer, and I'm actually going to save it as a PNG file. Click save to computer, and I've already done a test image here, but I'm just going to make this a new one. So design 3 sample is what I'll name it. Save, and we're done. I'm going to close the photo. I'll leave this open in case I want to use it again later, but for the rest of the video we won't. I'll come back over to Cricut Design Space, and then I'm going to upload that file that I just saved. So I'm going to come to my upload option, upload image, and then browse for that file, and here it is, ready for me to download. So I'm going to click on it, or sorry, upload actually. So it's going to bring it in. It's not a SVG file, remember, so we're going to have to do some knocking out, but because it's just a simple text file with one color option, really it's going to be an easy option. So instead of clicking simple or complex, simple would do. I just tend to go middle ground. I don't exactly know why. I don't have a reason. I just lean towards clicking the middle ground, so that's what I'll do. And then now I just have to click on everything that I want to be deleted from this screen. So I want the background here to be deleted. I need to get the space between the loops, and anywhere that there's a connected line, there's going to be color in between it. So I need to just come and click on each one of those options. And I can't really quite tell if there's one between here or not, but I'll click just in case. And then once I do that, I'm going to click continue. Now here's the important step for ease. Do the save as a cut image. Okay, so click on save as cut image, and I'll explain exactly why here in a second. So now it's going to have this cut image ready to go. I'm going to click on it and then click insert images, and there we go. I've got it here in front of us. Now the reason why I wanted to click save it as a cut file or a cut image, is by doing that, it's given me the option to use down here in the far bottom right corner, the contour tool. See, because we can't separate this out, they don't let us ungroup it, it's pulling it in as one element that cannot be separated out, but the contour tool is going to let us do that easily. Since I have two elements that I'm wanting to separate out, I'm just going to make a copy of it. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate it over here. And if I had three elements, I would duplicate it one more time so that I had three. And then I'm going to select one of them, come down to the contour tool, select that. And then now I'm just going to click on the portion that I don't want. I'm going to keep the little, but I'm going to get rid of this knockout little. And I have to click on each element. So I'm going to click here, and that now becomes lighter to show me that it's gone. And you can see off over here that it's disappearing. And as I click on each one of these, it will disappear. Okay. And if I click on something again accidentally, it's going to highlight it again, darken it, and bring it back in. And if you want to get rid of it, just click on it again, make sure everything's gone. Okay. So now when I get out of there, now all I have is the little. And so you can see where this is going. I'm just going to select this one and do the exact opposite. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the little and do the small portions first on this one, and then do the major portion. And I forgot the dot for the eye. There we go. And now I have it separated out into two pieces. And that was important because I'm going to cut this portion out, okay? But I need to align it, and in order to align it, I need to get these guys set up so that I can actually see what I'm working with. So let me just come here and make this white, okay? And I'm going to take this, and if you can see over here in my layers panel, the white portion is on top. So if I move little down now, it's going to actually be behind it. So what I need to do is bring little to the top, or bring the white, the cut portion or the knockout portion behind it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to the layers panel over here on the right side, click and hold down and drag it until it drops below. There we go. All right. So also, if that's a little bit of a hassle, you can always right click on an image and then choose to move backwards or forward. So forward, and I'm going to move backwards that way as well. Okay, so that's always an option. And so I'm going to move this in place, and I'm going to align it horizontally and vertically so that I can ensure that it's perfectly centered, just visually so that I can see it. Okay, so I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to scale it up until I like the sizing, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit, not too much. I don't like to overdo a lot of my frills or accents, so to speak. Okay, I'm kind of liking this the way that's looking right there. Maybe I'll curve it just a little more, or rotate it a little more so that it's right about there. Okay, yeah, I like that, except I want to bring it up a hair, and I need to make sure now that everything is going to be centered. So I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to align it horizontally, not vertically, because it's going to mush everything on a vertical line, but horizontally is going to ensure that everything is centered where I want it to be. Okay, I'm just going to take one final look at that, and now that I can see it's covering a little more of the tire than I like. I don't want to be too nitpicky here because I don't want to take up your time, but I'm trying to just get it to where it visually looks good to my eye. So I'm going to do is drop happy down now, a little further down. There we go. Now I'm kind of liking the spacing on everything except for the little. I want it a little further down on the tire and the trailer as well, but I'm not liking how far it is over the camper text. So I'm just going to drop the camper text down a knot there. So I'm absolutely in love with it. I'm not liking this little portion and that little line there. So one of the things that I would do is maybe scale it up a little bit, or just knock it back up again so it's just a little further in. But anyway, I'm just going to move on for sake of time in this video. As you can see, it's bothering me and I'm having a hard time moving on from it. But anyway, so now that I have these two elements, I used that online tool to do it. I'm going to need to move the actual black text portion out of the way so that It's just cleaner and easier for me to do some cutting, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this white portion to actually be a cutout. I'm gonna cut out this from the camper and from the trailer, okay? But you can only do one piece, so to speak, of cutting. So that means if I want to cut out this from the camper and the trailer, those are two elements right now and it's not going to work. So what I have to do is I have to join them together. So I'm going to click the trailer, hold down shift and click camper so that I have both selected, and then I'm going to weld them. It's important to weld them because it needs to be on one layer. Okay, one layer. And anytime you weld like this, it's going to bring that layer to the very top, which is not all that advantageous for us because we're going to want to cut out the white from the camper. So I just need to bring the camper down. Okay, come back over here and let's select my trailer and camper that's been joined together and the white portion here. And I'm going to click the slice. Okay, so slice it. And now what it has done is it's created a bunch of pieces that it's cut out from this shape here. So I'll just click on the white portion to get rid of that. Okay, so the white portion there is gone. So I'm going to select again to get rid of it because it does multiple slices and pieces. I'm going to select this portion of the black elements to get rid of those, and just to see that now all those pieces have been cut out so that I can bring little back in and overlay it so that it is a nice little cutout image without having to overlay your vinyl. Okay, all right, so let's get this on screen so you can see it all together there, and that's the final design. So hopefully you have learned at least one thing from this video. If you had, I would greatly appreciate a like or a thumbs up or a share of this video, and until next time, take care. Bye.